The federal judge in one of Sidney Powell's election lawsuits, this one concerning Dominion voting systems in Georgia, issued an order Sunday requiring the state to cease and desist wiping or resetting the machines. Shortly afterwards, U.S. District Judge Timothy Batten Sr. reversed himself. Oh, but he had a good reason. The state was not in possession of the machines. His decision reads, plaintiff request fails because the voting equipment that they seek to impound is in the possession of county election officials. You got that? The state doesn't have the machines. The counties have them. And, quote, plaintiffs have not determined that county election officials are within defendants' control, end quote. Lin Wood, an attorney associated with the Trump campaign, couldn't believe it. He noted that the machines are owned by the state and the Georgia elections are overseen by the Georgia Secretary of State. This judge used a ridiculous technicality to reverse a completely reasonable order to prevent officials in the state of Georgia from wiping forensic evidence. The plaintiffs had filed their emergency motion after an election official told a poll worker that ballot counting machines would be reset to zero on Sunday, November the 30th, prior to the recount. This information was put into an affidavit by the poll worker, a Republican, who had expressed concerns to the official about wiping the machines. And when the poll worker asked the official if the reset would wipe forensic evidence off the machines, he was told, Atlanta already did it. Georgia Republican Party Chairman David Shafer is fed up. He tweeted, our Republican recount monitors at the World Congress Center waited today for 4 hours while Fulton County election officials updated the software. In an update late Sunday night, the judge, I assume because the story got out, finally did grant a temporary restraining order on election officials in Cobb, Gwinnett, and Cherokee counties to prohibit them from any alteration, destruction, or erasure of any software or data on any Dominion voting machines used in the 2020 elections. He graciously allowed Wood to amend the previous complaint to include counties in possession of voting machines. But what about Fulton County? Is it true that Atlanta already did it? The NOQ report had an interesting add-on to this story about a Department of Justice plane logging 2 trips to Toronto, where Dominion Voting Systems is headquartered. After spending 3 days there, the same plane flew to Atlanta, where it remained on the tarmac for just over an hour. The speculation is that the DOJ was picking up hard drives or other equipment to take back to D.C. for analysis. Hard to believe they're on the case, but maybe they are, but very quietly. Now, this Georgia story is just one of many unacceptable facts coming to light in the aftermath of Election Day. If you still hesitate to tell friends and acquaintances that you sort of question the results of the election, fearing they're going to think that you're a crank or a conspiracy theorist, just have them read the best article that I've seen laying out the many reasons for doubt. It's from The Spectator, and it's written by Patrick Basham. Basham is a director of the Democracy Institute and a pollster himself who, after looking at the many anomalies, he believes the Trump campaign is well within its rights to contest the tabulations. He knows that with the media and their narrative and the current political climate, to say out loud that you find the results of the presidential 2020 election odd is to invite derision. I mean, you got to be a crank or a conspiracy theorist, according to Basham. Well, perhaps his largest concern is the staggering amount of vote-flation there was. Trump got more votes than any incumbent president ever seeking re-election. He got 11 million more votes than he got in 2016, and somehow he still lost. According to exit polls, he grew his support among black voters by 50%, increased his share among Hispanic voters to 35%, making it arithmetically impossible for a Democrat presidential candidate to win Florida, Arizona, Nevada, or New Mexico. Now, Basham is wondering exactly the same thing we all have. Where did those thousands of Biden votes that put him over the top come from? Now, I would stress that if these were fraudulent, every one of them canceled out someone's legitimate vote for Donald Trump. Even more to the point, Biden got them in exactly the places that he needed to. in order to win the Rust Belt states that usually go the way of Ohio, which went red big time this year. Biden got them in the cities of Philadelphia, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. He did not receive comparable levels of support among comparable demographic groups in comparable states, Basham said, which is highly unusual for the presidential victor. Basham lists many of the problems that I've discussed here and in my newsletters, such as that suspicious halt to the counting just in those cities. He doesn't even mention the phony burst water main story in Georgia, the statistically abnormal results that coincidentally started when counting resumed, the ejection of Republican poll watchers, destruction of mail-in ballot evidence, which, by the way, contains signatures that should have been matched, or missing USB cards containing thousands of votes, non-resident voters, like the thousands of Georgia voters who no longer met residency requirements or were using commercial addresses or boxes as residence addresses that Matt Braynard discovered, and much more. Now, when you take a look at the amazing down-ballot sweep for Republicans all over the country, it just doesn't make sense. Basham brings up a particularly incredible coincidence. He said, and I quote, "For 53 batches of votes counted, Biden led Trump by the same exact 50.05% to 49.95% margin in every single batch. Whether the cause was simple human error or nefarious activity or a combination, clearly something peculiar happened." Basham has asked the question, if there's really no evidence of fraud and it's crazy to think that Biden didn't really win, what's the harm in taking a closer look and letting the lawsuits play out? Wouldn't this simply end up confirming that Biden is the real president? Our side would then have to say that we lost fair and square. And isn't that what Democrats would want? Then the only people still questioning Biden's win would be the cranks and the conspiracy theorists. Well, the very fact that courts are trying to squelch efforts to examine what happened on election night tells us something that no judge or election official can cover up, no matter how hard he or she tries. Well, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed that video, please consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. Leave a like and a comment, and be sure and share this video if you really enjoyed it. By the way, if you want more of my news, analysis, and commentary, sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It is absolutely free. And that's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.